The American dream sounds amazing until you actually try to live inside it. Today we're exposing 40 lies people repeat about life in the United States. Freedom, success, fairness, healthcare, work, money. These aren't myths from history books. These are lies people discover the expensive way. If you've ever thought, how is this normal? This video is about you. 1. We are constantly told that the United States has the best healthcare system in the world because it is the most expensive. This is a terrifying lie told by insurance companies that are basically just corporate sharks in a lab coat trying to take your house. We spend more per person on medical care than any other country, yet we rank lower in life expectancy than places where people smoke for breakfast. You are not paying for superior technology or magical cures. You are paying for a massive administrative nightmare where a single plastic bag of salt water at the hospital costs more than a luxury vacation. The American dream should not involve a high-speed chase between an ambulance and your life savings, yet millions of people treat a simple doctor visit like a financial catastrophe. It is a system designed to keep you healthy enough to keep working. 2. You can become a millionaire just by working hard and pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. This is a physics-defying lie that keeps the economy humming while people burn out at record speeds. In reality, American social mobility is lower than in many European countries, meaning the ladder is actually a vertical treadmill in a dark room. Most people working 3 jobs aren't building a real estate empire. They are just trying to buy bread that isn't mostly air and sawdust. Hard work is a prerequisite, but unless your grit involves inheriting a small fortune or having a billionaire uncle, you are mostly just working to pay for the coffee that keeps you awake for more work. It is a brilliant fairy tale designed to make poverty look like a personal failure instead of a systemic feature of a high-stakes game where the winners take it all. 3. The United States is the global leader in work-life balance and personal freedom. In reality, the U.S. is the only advanced economy that does not federally guarantee a single day of paid vacation for its workers. We have turned the grind into a national religion where taking a lunch break feels like a betrayal of the flag or a sign of deep personal weakness. We have more gadgets to save time than any humans in history, yet we work more hours than medieval peasants who spent half the year waiting for the sun to come out. The American dream has become a 24/7 hustle where your only real hobby is trying to stay awake long enough to watch the first 10 minutes of a movie. You are free to do anything you want, provided you have no time to actually do it because you are too busy paying for the machine you drive. 4. Tipping is a beautiful cultural tradition that ensures every service worker gets paid exactly what they deserve. This is actually a clever way for restaurant owners to trick customers into paying their employees' salaries directly while the business keeps the profit. In many states, servers are paid a tipped wage that is basically pocket change, meaning their survival depends entirely on how much a stranger likes their personality that day. It is a bizarre, high-stakes performance where your dinner is actually a tiny episode of a reality show, where the prize is being able to pay rent. We call it hospitality, but it is really just a system that offloads the risk of doing business onto the staff. If a customer is having a bad day, the worker loses money, which is a weird way to run a modern economy that values dignity. 5. Your credit score is a fair and scientific way to measure how responsible and trustworthy you are as a human being. This is actually a bizarre financial video game where the only way to win is to constantly owe money to people who don't even like you. If you pay off your loans early or refuse to use credit cards, your score might actually go down, which is like being punished in school for finishing your homework too fast. It is a system that rewards you for being a professional debtor and punishes you for actually owning your own life and staying out of trouble. Your ability to rent an apartment, buy a car, or even get a job can depend on a mysterious 3-digit number calculated by a computer in a basement somewhere. It is not a measure of your character. It is a measure of how much profit a bank can squeeze out. 6. American grocery stores offer the healthiest and most regulated food supply in the world. This is a massive joke told by companies that put more chemicals in a loaf of bread than you would find in a high school chemistry set. While other countries ban ingredients they won't touch, The American system welcomes them as essential flavor enhancers or preservatives that stay on the shelf longer than some car leases. You are essentially walking through a colorful laboratory where everything is made of corn syrup and aggressive marketing. We have been conditioned to think that neon orange cheese is a natural food group instead of an industrial byproduct that might never biodegrade. It is a genius business model where they sell you the ultra-processed stuff for cheap and then charge a fortune for the healthcare. 7. Owning a home is the ultimate symbol of American freedom, but it usually ends with you moving into a miniature dictatorship run by a group of retired neighbors. This is the reality of the Homeowners Association, a group that has the legal power to fine you hundreds of dollars because your mailbox is the wrong shade of beige. You spend 30 years of your life working to buy a property where you are not even allowed to plant a vegetable garden or park a truck in your own driveway. It is a bizarre paradox where you are the king of your castle, but the castle has a strict dress code and a list of forbidden flowers. You do not really own the land. You are just a glorified tenant, paying a massive mortgage for the privilege of being told what color your curtains should be. It is a dream of independence with rules. 8. A university degree is a guaranteed golden ticket to a stable middle-class life and a high-paying career. This lie has successfully convinced millions of teenagers to sign away their financial future before they are even old enough to rent a car or buy a bottle of wine. We have created a system where education is not a journey of the mind, but a predatory loan disguised as a cap and gown. By the time you graduate, you are carrying a mountain of debt with interest rates that would make a loan shark blush. And your entry-level job pays just enough to afford a room with 3 roommates and a diet of instant noodles. You aren't just buying knowledge. You are pre-selling your future wages to a bank that will still be collecting payments when you are trying to retire. It is a trap where the investment in yourself mostly benefits the bank. 9. The American public restroom is a masterpiece of architectural awkwardness, designed to make sure you never feel too comfortable. It feels like we are the only place that decided a 2-inch gap between the door and the frame was a brilliant design choice, allowing you to make accidental eye contact with every person who walks into the room. It is a bizarre compromise of privacy where you are technically behind a door, but anyone with a little bit of curiosity can see exactly what kind of shoes you are wearing and how your day is going. We call ourselves the land of the free, but it feels like we are the only nation that forces you to perform your most private acts in a stall that feels like it was built by someone who ran out of materials halfway through the project. It is a strange cultural test of willpower. 10. There is a widespread belief that having a car is the ultimate expression of American liberty. This sounds adventurous until you realize that in most of the country, having a vehicle is not a choice, but a mandatory tax on your existence. We have built a world where you cannot even buy a carton of milk without navigating a 4-lane highway and a sea of concrete parking lots. Your freedom looks a lot like sitting in a metal box for 2 hours every day, breathing in exhaust fumes and staring at the bumper of a van, while your soul slowly leaves your body. We spend thousands of dollars on fuel, insurance, and repairs just to have the privilege of moving through a landscape designed for engines instead of human beings. It is a strange kind of liberty when you are legally required to own a 2-ton machine just to exist. 11. Free refills at every restaurant are a generous gift of American hospitality and a symbol of our national abundance. This is actually a calculated sugar bombing campaign designed to keep you glued to your seat while your blood sugar does a vertical loop-de-loop. That fountain machine isn't a gift. It is a high-speed delivery system for cheap corn syrup and carbonated water that costs the restaurant about 3 cents per gallon. We think we are winning because we drank a bucket of soda. But in reality, the house always wins when they can keep you hydrated with liquid candy for the price of a fancy car. It is a brilliant way to make you feel like a VIP while you are actually just participating in a giant experiment to see how much neon-colored liquid a human being can consume before they start seeing through time. 12. America is famously called the land of the free, but the statistics suggest it is actually the land of the incarcerated. The U.S. has one of the highest prison populations in the world, locking up more people per capita than almost any other nation on the planet. While we celebrate our liberty, We have created a massive industrial complex where being behind bars is a multi-billion-dollar business. From strict local laws to a legal system that feels like it was designed to keep people in a cycle of debt and court dates, the concept of freedom feels very different depending on your zip code. You are free to choose between 50 brands of laundry detergent, but the moment you step outside of a very narrow set of rules, you realize just how quickly that legendary American freedom can evaporate into a very small cell. 13. You might believe the legal system is a noble quest for truth where justice is always blind and fair for every single citizen. In reality, the American courtroom is often just a high-stakes wrestling match where the person with the most expensive lawyer usually walks away with the belt. We have a culture of litigation where you can be sued because someone tripped over their own shoelaces while looking at your house, leading to a society of constant fear. It has created a bizarre world where you have to sign a 20-page waiver just to go jump on a trampoline or ride a bicycle in a park. Justice is not a free right. It is a premium service that is billed by the hour in 6-minute increments by people in very expensive suits. It is a game of legal chess where the rules are so complicated that you need a translator just to understand why. 14. The bigger the portion, the better the value you are getting for your hard-earned money. This is a massive psychological trap that has turned every meal into a mountain of starch and regret. We think we are winning when a soda is the size of a fire hydrant, but in reality, you're just paying for a gallon of liquid sugar and a handful of ice. It is a brilliant way to make you feel like a king, while your internal organs are quietly screaming for mercy. These massive portions are not a gift. They are a clever trick to keep you from noticing that the actual quality of the food is somewhere between a cardboard box and a rubber tire. You're not eating like a billionaire. You're being served like a human storage unit in a system that values volume over the actual ability to survive until next Tuesday. It's a food coma sold as a bargain. 15. If you are a loyal employee and do your work well, you are a valued member of the corporate family with a secure future. This is a heartwarming lie that falls apart the moment a manager decides they don't like your attitude, or the company needs to save a few pennies. Thanks to at-will employment laws, you can be fired at any moment for almost any reason, or even for no reason at all, without any warning. The corporate family is more like a reality show where you can be voted off the island at any time without a severance package or even a thank you note. We trade our time, our health, and our sanity for companies that would replace us with a slightly more efficient robot or a well-trained dog if the law allowed it. It is a one-sided relationship where your loyalty is expected to be absolute, but their family love ends the second budgets get tight. 16. Your mobile phone plan offers truly unlimited data, so you can stream, post, and browse at lightning speeds whenever and wherever you want. This is a linguistic fairy tale told by companies that define the word unlimited as meaning exactly the opposite of what it says in the dictionary. Once you actually use a decent amount of data, they quietly throttle your speed until your high-tech smartphone has the processing power of a calculator from the 80s. You are paying a premium for a service that constantly disappears the moment you walk into a building or drive behind a moderately sized tree. It is a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek, where the goal is to keep you paying a massive monthly bill for a connection that is only fast when you aren't actually using it for anything important. It's unlimited until you actually use it. 17. Everyone thinks America is a high-tech wonderland with the best roads and bridges on the planet, but the reality is held together by hope and several coats of old paint. Many of the nation's bridges are officially listed as structurally deficient, meaning they are basically one heavy truck away from becoming a historical reenactment. Driving through some major cities feels like navigating the surface of the moon after a heavy asteroid shower, yet we spend billions on space travel while ignoring a pothole that has been there since the 90s. It is a weird paradox where you can order a pizza with your mind, but your car's suspension might be destroyed by a massive crater on the way to pick it up. We have built shiny glass skyscrapers on top of a crumbling foundation of leaky pipes and rusting steel that needs a massive upgrade. 18. Hollywood is a magical, sparkling paradise where you can walk down the street and accidentally become a global superstar. In reality, the famous Walk of Fame is a grimy sidewalk that smells like a combination of exhaust fumes and broken dreams, where people in dusty superhero costumes try to charge you $20 for a blurry photo. It is not a land of glitz and glamour. It is a high-intensity tourist trap where everyone is trying to sell you a map to a celebrity's house that hasn't lived there since the 90s. The dream of being discovered while drinking a milkshake is replaced by the reality of working 3 serving jobs while waiting for a callback that never comes. It is a brilliant marketing illusion that uses heavy filters and bright lights to hide a neighborhood that is mostly just overpriced parking lots. 19. People from other countries often arrive in New York with a plan to take a quick afternoon drive to see the Grand Canyon or catch a sunset in Los Angeles. This is a geographical delusion caused by maps that make the United States look like a manageable weekend trip instead of a massive, continent-sized monster. You can drive for 12 hours straight in some states and still be in the exact same state, staring at the exact same type of tree and wondering if you have accidentally entered a glitch in the Matrix. America is so big that its regional cultures are basically different countries held together by a shared love of air conditioning and oversized napkins. We tell people to come visit and see it all, but the reality is that you will spend most of your vacation staring at a dashboard and realizing how huge this place is. 20. Every time you put a plastic bottle in the blue recycling bin, you're doing your part to save the beautiful American wilderness. This is a comforting lie designed to make you feel better about the massive mountain of plastic you are forced to buy every single week. In reality, a huge percentage of what we put in those bins just gets shipped to another country, burned, or dumped straight into a landfill because it is too expensive to actually process. We have been trained to think that the problem is our lack of sorting, while the companies producing billions of tons of plastic are laughing all the way to the bank. It is a psychological shell game where the responsibility for a global crisis is placed on your shoulders while the real culprits continue to flood the world with trash for profit. You are not saving the planet. 21. Tourists always talk about how incredibly friendly Americans are because everyone smiles at you in the elevator and asks how your day is going. This is not actual friendship. It is a cultural reflex that is often about as deep as a puddle in a parking lot after a light rain. We have mastered the art of aggressive politeness where we ask 100 questions but do not actually wait to hear the answers before moving on. It is a social performance designed to avoid any awkward silence or genuine human connection that might last more than 30 seconds. We are the absolute masters of the "let's grab lunch sometime" lie, which is a phrase used specifically to ensure that you never actually have to see that person ever again for the rest of your life. It is a dream of community where everyone is waving but nobody knows your name. 22. Every exit on a grand American road trip offers a unique local adventure and a chance to discover the true heart of the country. If you actually pull off the highway, you will realize that every single exit in the entire nation is exactly the same collection of 4 fast food joints and a gas station that smells like old hot dogs. You can drive 3,000 miles and see the exact same yellow sign and the same purple logo every single time you need to pee or eat. It is a 48-state loop of identical concrete islands, where the only thing that changes is the price of a gallon of milk. We dream of finding a hidden gem or a quirky diner, but we usually just end up at a drive-through window talking to a static-filled box because the local flavor was replaced by a corporate franchise back in the 90s. 23. Modern American homes are sturdy, high-quality fortresses built to last for generations and provide a legacy for your family. The reality is that many new suburban houses are essentially giant boxes made of plywood, staples, and architectural hope, designed to be built in about 3 weeks by a crew in a hurry. You can hear your neighbors sneeze through 3 different walls, and the luxury finishes are often just thin pieces of plastic made to look like real wood or stone. We have traded durability for square footage, choosing massive rooms that are impossible to heat over buildings that can actually survive a strong breeze or a heavy rainstorm. It is a disposable housing culture where the goal is to make everything look expensive on the outside while using the cheapest possible materials on the inside. 24. The American education system is built on the idea that a single bubble sheet test can accurately measure the soul and intelligence of every child in the country. We have turned schools into high-pressure factories where teachers are forced to stop teaching actual knowledge and start teaching students how to outsmart a multiple-choice algorithm. It is a bizarre system where a kid's entire future can be decided by whether they had a good breakfast on a random Tuesday in April. We call it accountability, but it is really just a way to rank neighborhoods and turn learning into a stressful memory game that most people forget the moment the timer hits zero. The dream of a well-rounded education has been replaced by the nightmare of a number 2 pencil and a fear of filling in the wrong circle. 25. Filing your taxes is a complex but necessary duty that requires deep math to ensure everyone pays their honest share. The reality is that the government already knows exactly how much you owe, but they make you guess the number anyway just to see if you get it right. If you guess wrong, you can get hit with penalties, audits, and a world-class headache, which is a very strange and stressful way to run a country. This happens because massive tax prep companies spend millions of dollars lobbying to make sure the process stays as confusing and annoying as possible, so you have to pay them for help. It is a forced scavenger hunt for receipts and forms that could be solved with a single email from the government, but instead, it is a national month of panic. You are in an expensive obstacle course. 26. America is one of the only countries on the planet where drug companies can talk to you directly through the TV like they are selling you a new vacuum cleaner. You are watching a commercial for a pill that is supposed to fix a minor headache, but the narrator spends 40 seconds calmly listing side effects that sound like an apocalypse speedrun. They show people laughing and flying kites in a sun-drenched field, while a voiceover whispers a list of side effects that sounds like a legal department having a panic attack. It is a bizarre psychological warfare where we are encouraged to self-diagnose based on a 30-second clip and then go argue with a doctor who spent 12 years in medical school. We treat life-saving medicine like a fashion choice, turning the body into a profit center. 27. Buying a massive SUV or a giant pickup truck is the best way to keep your family safe while being ready for a rugged off-road adventure at any moment. The reality is that 99% of these 4-ton monsters will never touch a single blade of grass or climb a hill steeper than a suburban driveway. We are driving around in tanks designed for the apocalypse just to pick up a single bag of groceries and a latte. These vehicles are actually more dangerous for everyone else on the road and consume enough fuel to power a small village for a month. We have been sold a dream of mountain climbing and river crossing, but we spend our lives in the school pickup line feeling like a rugged explorer, while we struggle to find a parking spot big enough for our giant ego mobile. It is an expensive outdoor fantasy. 28. The natural label on your food is a strictly regulated guarantee that you are eating healthy ingredients straight from a sun-drenched farm. In reality, the word natural is a marketing hallucination that means absolutely nothing in the eyes of the law. A company can pack a box with lab-grown additives and strange chemical stabilizers and still slap a picture of a happy cow on the front because nobody is stopping them. It is a linguistic shell game designed to make you feel like a health-conscious hero while you are actually munching on a science project. We have been trained to trust green packaging and cursive fonts, but the truth is that the food industry treats the dictionary like a suggestion rather than a rule. You aren't buying nature. You are buying a very expensive font and a dream of a farm that probably doesn't exist. 29. The customer is always right is the golden rule that makes American service the best and most professional on the planet. This is actually just a legal permit for people to have public temper tantrums over the temperature of their soup or the color of a napkin. It has created a bizarre culture where service workers are expected to perform like Oscar-winning actors while being treated like human furniture by someone who is angry at their own life. We think this leads to excellence, but it really just creates a toxic environment where the loudest person in the room gets a free dessert and the employee gets a massive headache. It is a weird power dynamic that pretends to be about hospitality but is actually about letting people feel like royalty for the price of a chicken sandwich at a local diner. 30. Black Friday is a national holiday where we celebrate the spirit of giving by wrestling a stranger to the ground over a television that was already overpriced to begin with. We are told these are once-in-a-lifetime deals, but most of the time stores just raise their prices 2 weeks early so they can pretend to drop them on Friday morning. It is a high-stakes psychological game where the goal is to make you feel like you are winning a war while you are actually just clearing out a warehouse of last year's junk. We have been trained to think that saving $40 is worth losing a tooth or spending 14 hours in a freezing parking lot with a tent. It is the ultimate expression of consumerism disguised as a tradition, where the prize is a product that will be obsolete in 6 months anyway. 31. America is often described as a beautiful melting pot, where different cultures blend together into a perfect national stew. This sounds like a lovely poem, but in reality, it is more like a giant salad bowl where the ingredients are in the same container but desperately trying not to touch each other. Most major cities are strictly divided into ethnic enclaves, where people cling to their original heritage because the melting pot often feels more like a pressure cooker of social friction. True integration is a long, multi-generational struggle, not a magical chemical reaction that happens the moment you clear customs. We celebrate diversity in theory, but in practice, many people spend their entire lives in cultural bubbles, never truly interacting with the neighbor who lives 3 doors down from them. 32. Small-town America is a safe and idyllic paradise where everyone is friendly and nobody ever feels the need to lock their front door. This is a nostalgic fantasy that is often used to sell pickup trucks and country music, but the reality can be much more complicated and dark. Many small towns are struggling with extreme poverty, a total lack of jobs, and social issues that are just as serious as anything you would find in a big city. The safe feeling is often just a lack of local news coverage rather than a lack of actual problems happening behind closed doors. You might not have to worry about a subway pickpocket, but you do have to worry about the local economy collapsing and the nearest hospital being an hour's drive away. It is a dream of a simpler time that ignores the modern world and its problems. 33. Drinking a $7 latte from a famous green logo coffee shop makes you a sophisticated connoisseur of premium international beans. The truth is that you are mostly paying for a bucket of heated milk and enough sugary syrup to fuel a small rocket ship with just a splash of over-roasted coffee hidden somewhere at the bottom. We have been conditioned to think that extreme customization is a personality trait, but it is really just a way to make you feel in control of a chaotic morning. You aren't buying a handcrafted beverage. You are buying a liquid dessert that contains more calories than a full dinner, served in a paper cup that will outlive your grandchildren. It is a genius business model that transformed a basic morning ritual into a luxury lifestyle brand where quality is irrelevant. 34. The price you see on the tag at the store is the actual amount of money you have to pay when you get to the register. This is a logical assumption that is completely false in almost every corner of the United States because of the hidden tax game. We have turned a simple shopping trip into a surprise math test where you have to guess the local sales tax and add it in your head before you reach the front of the line. It is a bizarre system where the store knows the final price and the government knows the final price, but they both decide to keep it a secret from you until the very last second. This makes you feel like you are being punished for buying a loaf of bread or a new pair of shoes with a hidden fee that was never mentioned. It is a weird way to run a retail economy. 35. The supermarket bakery is a charming place where master chefs wake up at dawn to craft fresh, artisanal bread and pastries just for you. In reality, most of those golden brown treats arrived in the back of a frozen truck months ago and were simply popped into an oven to give them that convincing freshly baked smell. You are not buying a masterpiece of culinary art. You are buying a mass-produced dough product that was engineered in a factory 3 states away to have a shelf life longer than most phone contracts. We are easily fooled by a wicker basket and a chalkboard sign. But the truth is that your sourdough probably contains more preservatives than actual grain. It is a psychological trick designed to make a massive industrial warehouse feel like a cozy village market. 36. America is the global center of technology, so you naturally get the fastest and most affordable internet in the world. In reality, your internet connection is likely being provided by a massive monopoly that treats you like a hostage rather than a valued customer. While people in tiny villages in Europe are enjoying lightning-fast speeds for the price of a cup of coffee, many Americans are paying a small fortune for a connection that dies every time it rains or the wind blows. We are the birthplace of the internet, yet we treat high-speed access like a rare and expensive luxury instead of a basic utility for modern life. You are paying premium prices for service that feels like it is being delivered through a rusty tin can and some wet string. It is a high-tech dream that ends with a spinning circle. 37. Maintaining a perfectly manicured green lawn is the ultimate way to show you are a responsible citizen who cares about the environment. This is actually a bizarre vanity project where we spend thousands of dollars to grow a plant that we are not allowed to eat and that we have to cut every 5 days. We dump millions of gallons of water and bags of chemicals onto this grass just to make it look like a plastic carpet that survives in a climate where it clearly doesn't belong. It is a suburban arms race where the goal is to have the most boring, uniform patch of green on the block. The American lawn is essentially an ecological desert that serves no purpose other than making you look successful to neighbors you don't even talk to. We are basically servants to a specific species of grass. 38. Signing up for a high-end gym membership is the first step toward transforming your life and achieving the perfect Hollywood body in just 30 days. This is a brilliant predatory trap because gym business models are actually built on the hope that you will pay your monthly fee and then never, ever show up. If everyone who had a membership actually walked through the front door at the same time, the building would literally explode from the pressure. They make it incredibly easy to join with a smile and a handshake, but trying to cancel your contract is more difficult than escaping a high-security prison. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry that profits from your guilt and your desire to change, selling you a dream of fitness while secretly praying that you stay on the couch and pay anyway. 39. Times Square is the pulsating heart of the world where you can experience the true energy and excitement of American culture. For anyone who actually lives in the city, it is a neon-lit stress test that should be avoided at all costs unless you enjoy being trapped in a sea of slow-moving tourists and giant costumed characters. You are surrounded by billboards that are so bright they can be seen from space, all shouting at you to buy products you already own. It is a manufactured spectacle where the food is overpriced, the air feels non-existent, and the only thing truly authentic is the feeling of wanting to leave immediately. We are sold a dream of a global crossroads, but it is really just a very loud, very expensive outdoor shopping mall where your personal space goes to die in a flurry of noise. 40. The winner of a domestic sports league in the United States is officially the world champion, even if they never played a single team from another country. This is a hilarious expression of national ego where we decide that being the best in a 3,000-mile radius is the same thing as conquering the entire planet. We hold a World Series for a sport that is mostly played in North America and a few islands, ignoring the thousands of other professional teams across the globe. It is a brilliant way to feel like the ultimate global superpower without ever having to actually travel or deal with a different set of rules. We have crowned ourselves the kings of the world in our own backyard, creating a dream of global dominance that conveniently stops at the border. It is the ultimate participation trophy for a nation. Here's the question people dodge on purpose. Which one of these lies cost you the most? Money, time, or sanity? Name the lie. Say what it took from you. Don't generalize. Get specific. The comments are about to get uncomfortable. And if this video just said out loud what everyone whispers, hit like and subscribe. We're not done pulling the curtain back.